Hello everyone, it's GirlGotGame, and welcome back to the Wizard's Route in Taisho Alice, where we have 5 bad endings waiting for us. Actual bad endings, not good ending that's titled a bad ending because of reasons. This choice that I'm doing right now is actually not connected to the bad ending, it's just a alternate CG for this moment when, Eureka woke up in bed with the wizard. Nothing weird happened that time. Probably. So anyway, I'm just going to do this first, and then we'll go to our actual choices for our first bad ending. So I'm going to be doing this in the order of the brothers, or personalities, if you will. So we'll be doing Cinderella, because like the bad endings revolve around picking one of the guys to be our husband, basically. So there you go. We're gonna start with that. But first, smack his hand away. Oh, so blushy. Kind of like red. Don't touch me! I shouted reflexively. Whoops. Sorry about that. He pulled his hand away from my head. Immediately, I regretted my folly. No, it's okay. I'm sorry for shouting at you like that. I know you were just trying to be nice. I apologized quickly. No worries. I'm not bothered by it. A short while later, I was finally calm enough to ask him my burning question. So, what are you doing here? Okay, I think we're back. I also just remembered my folly of, once again, not putting this on. There we go. Now we're good to go. So this is where we actually start our bad endings. I don't know why this is so dark. Did we have our eyes closed during this bit? I honestly can't remember. But this was the first time he asked us if we would pick our husband. He gives us 2 more times after this. I might do like the first 3 from this save and then the last 2 from each next time he gives us a chance to pick our husband, just to see if anything changes. Probably nothing major, but anyway. Let's start this bad end train a-rolling. Okay, we did have our eyes closed. The truth is, There you go. Who will you choose? Number 1, Cinderella. I've decided to choose Cinderella. At this, the wizard smiled brightly. I see. He's a lot more responsible than he seems, so I'm sure he'll make you happy. Yeah. Smiling, I nodded. Then he rose from the sofa. Guess his job is done. Well then, the crisis has been averted. Looks like I'm done here. Thank you for everything, Mr. Wizard. No, I barely did anything at all. You were the one who made the choice. I wish the 2 of you all the best. Thank you. Later, I waited for the chance to speak to Cinderella privately. Naturally, I wanted to tell him my decision. And he turned me down. Cinderella! What's up? Cinderella, I'm in love with you! At my sudden profession of love, he froze, confused. But I don't feel the same way. Cinderella? Oh, sorry. I just wasn't expecting you to pick me, that's all. And I'm super flattered you did. But I can't marry you. I'm sorry. Man, it's Cinderella's route all over again. Well, that was depressing. Guess I'm dying anyway. After he rejected me, I wandered aimlessly with no set destination in mind. I can't marry you. I never expected him to say those words to me. Why? Why didn't my feelings get through to him? I thought they all said they wanted me to choose them. Did I somehow wander my way into the abyss? Wait, what the... I did. Suddenly, I found myself lost in a world of darkness. No matter where I went, the scenery around me remained static and unchanging. It was like the darkness had consumed everything, all sense of direction, even the very concept of time itself. Were I to stand perfectly still and hold my breath, the only sound would be that of my own heartbeat. I perceived this darkness to be a dream. But maybe that was just my brain searching for some way to keep calm. Oh, hi, Alice. It's you. Before me stood a blond, blue-eyed boy. He stared back at me. You know, it's funny. I feel like I've met you before.
Well, that's hardly a surprise. After all, I know you. Therefore, it stands to reason that you know me too.
I'm sorry, but I don't remember you. Why can't I remember? It feels so important.
That doesn't matter right now. You were wondering why your feelings didn't get through, right?
You heard that?
Heard it and saw it, actually. That sure took your arrogant ass down a peg, didn't it? Ha ha ha! What a glorious rejection! Of course you were going to get shot down. Use that big titty bimbo brain of yours and think about it.
Wait, our girl has big tits confirmed?
Or are you some kind of stereotypical swimsuit model who's all beauty and no brains?
Oh my god, I don't get it!
Is that what you're thinking? Because if you try that crap with me, I'll knock the air right out of your head.
It's not cool to assume someone's stupid just because they have big boobs. Yeah, that's boobism, if I've ever seen it.
To be fair, these bimbos only say,
"Oh my god, I don't get it!"
because society expects them to act that way. So in that sense, maybe they're being smart and trying to make the most of their lot in life. Alright then, let's see you use that brain.
He doesn't actually love me.
Not quite. They all loved you, make no mistake about that. You were rejected because he didn't truly want you from the bottom of his heart. He didn't need you. As I'm sure you understand, they carry deep trauma with them. Do you think you'd be able to focus on someone else in that state? Could you make someone else happy if you weren't even happy yourself? No, you couldn't. They don't have that emotional bandwidth. What they need isn't romance, but salvation.
As in divine salvation?
Call it God's unconditional love if you want.
But I'm not a god!
Well then, start trying. You're always so goddamn arrogant. I bet you're thinking,
and after I was nice enough to choose him too.
You may be talented, but you're completely full of yourself. They're not stupid. They can see right through you.
So you're saying I shouldn't have chosen anyone at all?
I don't have the answer to that. I'm not a god. But I can say this much with certainty. If you want to reach a happy ending with them, then you need to heal their hearts.
Well, I think love is bound to solve a few problems on its own. It certainly solved mine.
No, it didn't. You chose him, but he rejected you. If the story ends without him reciprocating your feelings, that's a bad ending.
Then what am I supposed to do?
Figure it out yourself, you brain-dead blockhead! Or so I'd usually say. But since you made it this far, I'll give you some free advice.
Thank you.
Eventually you will come to understand what you are. What they are. And once it all becomes clear, you might mourn. It might hurt you. But rest assured, if you ever lose your way, I'll be there to help you.
You're going to help me? Because we're friends? Who are you?
I am Alice.
Alice?
That's right. Goodbye, Arisu. Lady Arisu.
What the... Mr. Wizard? Did Alice reset me? Okay, well, good confirmation, because I was wondering on the wizard's route if Alice would take the wizard's spot and reset our girl. Did he kill us? Does he have a different way of resetting us? I don't know. His amber eyes peered at me curiously.
Yes, it is I, the wizard. What of it?
My head was fuzzy and I couldn't think straight. What was I doing just now? For a moment I stared at my amber-hued reflection. You're in my bubble! My personal space! Then I snapped to my senses and jumped back.
Whoops, my apologies.
He straightened up.
Is something wrong? You were staring into space.
I feel like I was dreaming just now. I pressed a hand to my pounding chest.
Dreaming?
Yeah. A dream where I confessed my feelings only to be rejected. Strange, considering I was in the middle of a conversation with the wizard. The smile faded from his face and he looked at me intently. Unable to bear it, I scrambled to think of some way to change the subject. That reminds me, you said you're in love with someone, right? I asked out of nowhere. Thinking back, the subject had come up during our conversation last night.
Yes, I am.
Could I ask you what they're like? I leaned forward slightly.
She's a stubborn, competitive person who would do anything to win.
Sounds like I would get along with her.
I imagine you would.
He was probably thinking about our chess games.
She is the only person who ever told me they loved me. I didn't understand myself, but that didn't matter to her. She said to me, "If you don't have anything, then you can have me. But in return, I want you. You are my property. You're going to make all my desires and demands a reality."
Wow. Who died and made her queen? I accidentally let a bit of my unfiltered opinion slip out. Fortunately, the wizard didn't seem to mind.
I can see how you'd think that, but it meant a lot to me. I was a bit player until she came along and gave me a role. Now I'm her property, and I'll do whatever it takes to make her desires and demands a reality.
You sound like a total masochist.
No one's ever said that about me before, but you might be right.
So is she your girlfriend?
No, we're not together.
I blinked. From the way he spoke about her, I'd figured they were an item. I figured I was back on my normal conversation train, but apparently, according to my previously read stuff, I'm not. But you still love her.
Of course I love her.
Well, how does she feel about you?
Beats me. I wouldn't know.
He shrugged and stared into space, a rare occurrence for him.
We've slept together on several occasions in the past, but I wouldn't call that love.
She doesn't love you, but she has sex with you anyway? The second the words left my lips, I clapped a hand to my mouth in regret.
Well, that was blunt.
I'm sorry. He smiled wryly.
When you can't get your emotional needs met, sometimes all you can do is fill the void.
So you're saying she has unresolved emotional needs?
Yes, I'd say so.
In other words, it sounded like the wizard's beloved was interested in someone else. She was simply using him as a surrogate in the interim. I guess I don't really understand that sort of logic. I couldn't give myself to someone I didn't love. I wouldn't want to. Are you sure she didn't sleep with you because she loves you?
That's not possible, I'm afraid.
What makes you say that?
Because she's in love with someone else.
Apparently my hypothesis about her was right. So, your feelings are one-sided?
Indeed. My love for her is eternally unrequited.
Eternally? The word made me indescribably sad.
Yes.
Isn't that kind of hard for you?
Not really, believe it or not. After all, she gives me everything I need, physically and emotionally.
He paused as though a memory had been sparked within him. Then he smiled stiffly.
Perhaps I truly am a masochist.
Okay, so that whole conversation was the same, as far as I could tell. I can skip now, though. Interesting. So even though I chose, I got, like, reset back in. Do I have to just keep trying to pick Cinderella, then? I don't know. Okay. Let's try again? Let me think. Perhaps there was no point in dragging this out any further. I closed my eyes and thought it over carefully. Who should I prioritize, and what should I do to help them? Oh, I can't pick Cinderella again. Interesting. I guess I'll go Snow White. I've decided to choose Snow White. At this, the wizard smiled brightly.
I see. He's very smart and rational, so I'm sure he'll make you happy.
Yeah.
Well then, the crisis has been averted. Looks like I'm done here.
Thank you for everything, Mr. Wizard.
No, I barely did anything at all. You were the one who made the choice. I wish the two of you all the best.
Thank you. And so the two of us went our separate ways. No cats were found that day. Later, I waited for the chance to speak to Snow White privately. Snow White!
What's up?
I'm in love with you.
Are you saying you've chosen me?
Yeah! For a second, I thought I saw his lilac eyes shimmer. Snow White? I tilted my head in confusion as he averted his gaze.
I'm sorry, but I can't marry you.
So you were lying earlier when you said you wouldn't mind if I chose you. Whoa! What does that mean? Oh no, I've been reset again. Huh? A wave of dizziness washed over me and I clutched my head.
Is something wrong?
I mean, Alice did say he would, if I get lost, he would be there to help me back. The next thing I knew, the wizard was peering at me with a worried frown. No, I'm fine.
You seem to be spacing out an awful lot. Are you sure you're all right? Do you need to rest?
I'm okay. I smiled as brightly as I could manage, and the wizard backed away. Mr. Wizard, could I ask you something?
Certainly.
Is this real life? Or is it just fantasy? He folded his arms and smirked at me smugly.
Now there's a silly question. If this wasn't real life, what else could it be?
A dream. I scrutinized his face, but couldn't detect any shift in his expression. I averted my gaze. Yeah, I know it's silly. After all the interrogating we've been doing, it feels like my memories are all jumbled up. Almost like I'm dreaming. I know I'm awake, but sometimes I have these strangely vivid, lifelike experiences. It feels like I'm reliving my memories, but from the perspective of someone who isn't me. Almost like I'm not really Eureka anymore. And I can't tell where the dream ends and reality begins.
Am I in your dream?
I slowly looked up at him. Discomfort rose up in my chest. I could see my reflection in his amber eyes, or at least I was pretty sure it was me, but at the same time it felt as though he was looking at the person inside me. Yes, you are. In fact, maybe all of it is you.
I see.
Okay. And apparently this is... And then we get the cat. Okay. And then what happens? That's all the choices that I had for the bad ending one, according to my walkthrough. So I'm like, what happens now? Maybe we can't beg for our life here? Okay, so what happened here? Okay, so I think he asked, yeah, are you ready to make your choice? And she says yes this time, without any input from me. Yes. I choose... In the end, we failed to learn the truth before the night of the full moon. Seeing as the blackmail letter specified the moon, I figured they would probably wait until night to try anything. Trembling in fear of my imminent demise, I headed to the living room. I mean, technically I chose, though, so it's not my fault they didn't reciprocate. When I arrived, I found it very quiet. I had entered this room hundreds of times, yet it suddenly felt foreign to me. Frightened, I headed for the front door. I glanced around. The spacious entryway, the luxurious chandeliers. The house was built like a castle, and while it was all familiar to me, for some reason I couldn't remember the exact layout. Why? I ran around to each room, scouring every inch in the bright sunlight, moonlight. The more I ran, the more foreign everything started to feel. I couldn't find Cinderella, or Snow White, or Red Riding Hood, or Kaguya, or Gretel. It felt as though I was the only one living here, almost like they'd vanished into thin air. Hello? Anybody? Cinderella! Only now, during this crisis, did I finally realize how I felt. But it was too late now. So she called for Cinderella. Interesting. Sometime later, the sun's rays faded and night began to fall. Again. Darkness devoured all the world's colors. Sweat trickled down my back as I felt something swiftly approaching. In the distance, I could hear footsteps. I ran in the direction of the sound, but couldn't find anyone. In the distance, I could hear a voice. I ran in the direction of the sound, but couldn't find anyone. In the distance, I could hear sobs. I charged headfirst in the direction of the sound. Straight forward, without even glancing left or right, almost like I had tunnel vision. I ran, and ran, and ran, into the waiting arms of death. And by the time the sounds were finally gone, I had arrived at the front door. I glanced over my shoulder. Through the window at the top of the stairs, I could see the full moon hanging in the sky. It's a full moon. I knew it would be a full moon tonight, but it felt like it was rubbing its presence in my face. To Eureka Arisu, on the next full moon I will take your life. Only one thing will save you. Choose one of the 5 brothers to be your husband. Cinderella, Snow White, Red Riding Hood, Kaguya, or Gretel. I hadn't chosen any of the 5. I tried. And I hadn't found the culprit either. My fate was sealed. With my doom hurtling toward me, all I could do was stare up at the moon as it gazed down at me from the safety of the sky.
I'm sorry.
It's you. The next instant, I felt a hard impact against my skull and sparks flew behind my eyelids. Then my field of vision pitched sideways. Huh? Suddenly, you find yourself lost in a world of darkness. Man, this is the trippiest bad end we've had so far. Where am I? I keep walking and walking, but I can't seem to find a single exit. It's so dark, I can't see a thing. I can't even tell how far I've walked or how much time has passed. No matter where you go, the scenery around you remains static and unchanging. It's like the darkness has consumed everything. All sense of direction, even the very concept of time itself. Were you to stand perfectly still and hold your breath, the only sound would be that of your own heartbeat. What am I doing here? Who am I? But no one was there to answer me. There was only darkness and nothing more. I don't know. I don't know anything. So now I'm wandering forever? The failed heroine Cinderella's story achievement. Interesting. Okay. I gotta chew on that one a little bit. I assume the wizard came and knocked us out at the end there. I mean, it could have been Alice, but Alice seems to be a fan of just, like, really resetting. Just, like, teleport you back. Ba-doop. Because it seemed to be the same clone of Eureka, just having... Because she carried over some memories, I feel like. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll move on to bad ending number 2 and see what happens there. Hope to see you over there, guys.
I am on my way, honey, have the phone down, never put down, I'm gonna go, here is a kid with